Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing lesson 15 in Wit and Wisdom. Remember, our question is, what can we discover about animals' unique features? All right. So in this lesson, the students, you, are going to be introduced to Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea, which is a great text for highlighting elements of informational text, especially the use of text features to a better understanding. And we're going to notice and wonder about the text, and we're also going to practice our listening goal of readying your body. So, point to one of your features. What feature is this? Oh, it's my ear. It's used for hearing, isn't it? Right? So we know features are part of something. So I use my ear for hearing. Maybe you pointed to your nose. I use my nose for smelling. Or I use my eyes for seeing. Or I use my fingers for touching. Great. Well, in this new text, we read about how a seahorse uses their unique features. Okay, so let's look at the content framing question. Our content framing question is, what do I notice and wonder about Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea? Now remember, good readers take time to notice and wonder about a text. Good readers also get their body ready to listen, which student we're going to be discussing next. So let's look at the speaking and listening anchor chart. There we go. Speaking and listening goals. Speaking goals, respond to what others say. Speak and complete sentences. Our listening goals, whole body listening, noticing, pauses, and we need to add on there, ready your body. I'm going to write ready your body on here. Ready your body. What do you think that means, ready your body? Does that mean sit there and go like this, roll around? No. Ready your body means your feet are underneath your desk, your hands are in your lap, your eyes are on the speaker, your ears are facing the speaker, and you are ready to learn. Okay? So that means you are ready to go and ready to listen to this new book. So this is our new book today. It's Chris Buttersworth, Seahorse, the Shyest Fish in the Sea, and it's illustrated by John Lawrence. So I'm going to read this through, okay? And then I want you to notice something about this, though. There are two different fonts in this book of the Seahorse, the Shyest Fish in the Sea. So I'm going to read it and then I'll show you the pictures, okay? In the warm ocean among the waving seagrass meadows, an eye like a small black bead is watching the fish dart by. Who does it belong to? Seahorse, one of the shyest fish in the sea. Seahorse has a head like a horse, a tail like a monkey, and a pouch like a kangaroo. This one is a barber seahorse. He has prickles down his back like a dragon. He may not much look like a fish, but that's what he is. For a long time, no one was sure what kind of animal the seahorse was. Its scientific name was hippocampus, which means horse-like sea monster. Seahorse swims upright. He moves himself through the water with the little fins on his head and the larger one on his back. He can only swim slowly, so if a hungry snapper cruises by looking for a snack, Seahorse does something very clever. Clever means very smart. He holds still and changes colors. Now you see him until he's almost invisible. Now you don't. Now seahorses have hard bony ridges all down their bodies, almost like our spine. That's considered, okay? Not many other sea creatures eat horses, probably because they're just too difficult to swallow. The way seahorses change the color of their skin to blend in with their surroundings is called camouflage. Every day at sunrise, Seahorse swims slowly off to meet his mate. They twist their tails together and twirl gently around, changing color until they match. Seahorses are faithful to one mate and often pair up for life. Today's seahorse's mate is full of ripe eggs. The two of them dance till sunset, and then she puts her eggs into his pouch. Barber seahorses mate every few weeks during the breeding season. Only the male seahorse has a pouch. Only the female seahorse can grow eggs. Seahorse sways about to get the eggs settled in, then seals his pouch shut tight. Seahorses are the only male fish to get pregnant like this, growing their young inside their own bodies. Yes, the daddy carries the babies. Safe inside, the dots in the eggs begin to grow into baby seahorses. They break out of their eggs and keep on growing, everyone with a head like a tiny horse and a tail like a tiny monkey. A few weeks later, Seahorse finds a quiet place to hide among the corals. It's time for the babies to be born. He works hard all day and through the night, bending, squeezing, and pushing, shooting hundreds of babies out of his pouch. Barber seahorses can have 200 to 300 babies at one time. One or two of the babies hang on to Dad's nose for a while. It's the first and biggest thing they've ever seen. They swirl around him in the water like smoke. But when they let go, they're so tiny and light that the current soon floats them away. And each tiny new seahorse is a perfect copy of its parent and is ready for life on its own as soon as it's born. So think about that. As soon as those babies are born, they're off on their own. They don't have their mommies and daddies anymore. This new seahorse is only as long as your eyelash. Oh my goodness, can you think about that? Your eyelash, that's not very long, is it? But she can find her own food right away. Her eyes move separately from each other. One can look up while the other looks down, so she can spot food coming in any direction. Seahorses live on plankton, just tiny creatures that float along with the current. With one quick slurp, she sucks her catch into the end of her snout and swallows it. Seahorses don't have teeth, so they suck it in their nose and it goes straight down. To drop lower in the water, horses tuck their necks and roll up their tails. To rise higher, they uncurl themselves until they're almost as straight as pencils. When she's big enough, she can curl up her tail and sink to the seabed. Seahorses cannot live where the currents are strong because they would be swept away. She is safer here. Her camouflage protects her, and if a storm scoops the sea into huge waves or passing boats in currents sweeping by, there's plenty of things for her to hold on to. Seahorses have prehensile tails, which means they can grasp onto things tightly with them. When she's even bigger, Seahorse picks one patch of a reef as her home. She wraps her tail around a coral branch. This is her holdfast, meaning wherever she goes, she'll keep coming back to this spot, which is called a holdfast, which is her home. Male Barber seahorses range over only a few square yards. The female's range is twice as big or even bigger. In a few months, this little seahorse will be ready to mate. She'll spend the rest of her life on the reef, watching for food, meeting her mate, and trying to stay almost invisible. Barber seahorses can mate by the age of 6 months and are fully grown in about a year. Who's that peering from the coral? Shh, a seahorse. Now, I'm going to stop there, okay? So let's think about this book. What did you notice about this book? Man, there was a lot in this book. It was a great book to read, wasn't it? But do you know what I noticed? When I opened the book up, I noticed there were lots of different kinds of seahorses in the inside cover and the back cover. I know you guys didn't see that, but I saw it, which was really cool. And I noticed seahorses, they like to hide in the grass where you could barely see it. Do you see that seahorse over here? Look right there. It was camouflaged, wasn't it? Yes. And I also noticed the words in here were different sizes. Let me show you, for example. Notice the words are bigger at the top of the page, but down here at the bottom, they're a little smaller. And on some other pages, they're kind of rounded, aren't they? Do you see that, how it's rounded over here? And you've got bigger words over here, but these are smaller and rounded. You've got, see, there's more rounding of the words, bigger words. You also have boxes that show the print also. It's a little bit smaller too, to bring your attention to it. It's like a text box, okay? All right, so now let's keep looking. On page 24, I also see a seahorse hiding. Do you see that? Yes, I do too. Wow. And we talked a few about clever. Clever means that very smart. Remember, seahorses are very smart. We also talked about camouflage. They change colors, so they are disguised from their enemies, okay? So what I would like to work on right now is generating some questions that you may have about this text. So we're going to do our question and answer chart, okay? So, all right, friends. So let's think of some questions that we have about the shyest seahorse, okay? And let's write these down on our question chart. So the first question is, where do seahorses live? Where do seahorses live? Do you remember from our story, where do seahorses live? You're right. They live in the coral. Great job, guys. What about this one? What does camouflage mean? What does camouflage mean? Yes, you are correct. It means to change the color of your skin to fit into your surroundings. Great. Okay, another question. Why is the seahorse called the shyest fish in the sea? Why is the seahorse called the shyest fish in the sea? Now think about the story we just read. Why was it shy? Was it around other animals? No, it was. It would run off and hide, wouldn't it? It would run and hide in the coral. And it's not around others. Good. Okay. How do seahorses give birth to babies? How do seahorses give birth to babies? How do seahorses give birth to babies? Remember, they squeeze and push. Squeeze and push. Squeeze and push. Good. All right, guys, you do not have to write that down, okay? You do not have to write that down. That is just for us to talk about, all right? So please don't turn that in to me. So I am going to share my screen with you. All righty. And you have a new fluency handout. It's Seahorse, the Shyest Fish in the Sea by Chris Butterworth. And it goes like this. Seahorse has a head like a horse, a tail like a monkey, a pouch like a kangaroo. Seahorse swims upright. He moves himself through the water with the little fins on his head, the larger one on his back. Now remember to practice this nightly, okay, to build up that fluency. All right, guys, we are done with this lesson. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Until tomorrow, I will see you then. Bye.